came to tell you Ben was a yes. Where's Greg? Is he tapping in?
Yeah, he'll.
All right, I'll start.
He's the one who Podfather.
I know. He's the one that
Weird cultural questions, are you?
Greg's the one that always wants to do it.
Culturally illiterate?
Favorite 2000s sitcom.
We're not on yet, are we?
Oh, this is the.
The mic has been on. Yeah.
I just turned it on. It's just it's the pregame. This is the free show before the show.
Pregame. I had some pretty interesting waiver decisions last night, and I got to decide. I'm less confident in my running back depth now. Got Pollard, Damian Pierce, Pacheco,
Oh.
and then picked up Gus Edwards. I'm sure. We don't have either of them starting, but then
The hardest one was
can start him. He's the volume guy right now. Zach Moss is out there. The other guys I tried for Kyra Williams, I was the last pick just because Dallas' defense had the highest point with the win. So I could pick up Zach Moss, but I have to cut either Kadarius Toney, Odell Beckham, and not Marquise Brown. Yeah, cut Malcolm Brown. Yeah, he's done. But anyway, Beckham and Toney not startable, but they're like the same weight. Toney has the upside.
The only reason I think
I could also pick up Rice for
No, I wouldn't.
Casey.
Yeah, but
There's just
Boomer
so many mouths to
Boomer
feed
bust.
there. Like Mahomes is gonna feed Kelsey, and then outside of that, it's like
Hopefully Kelsey comes back.
gonna be Valdez Scantling. Is it gonna be Rice? Is it gonna be
It's gonna
you know,
be, yes,
who's-
it's gonna be, each one of them are gonna get 2 receptions. Everybody else needs 2.
who's the white receiver who just throws bombs to?
We're streaming.
I
Yeah.
just had the
This is
music up.
Yeah.
I can turn it down, and then we would say, what would we say, Mike?
We say hello, friendos.
Welcome
Isn't
in,
that- That's what
friendos.
it is. Yeah.
It is Thursday, September 14th.
Mm-hmm. What a great
And
day to be alive in
we're
America.
here at Northridge with Mike, Stella, and Paul Schoolmeisters.
I'm standing in for Greg
Yep.
until he
Until he decides to come on in.
finishes whatever he's doing.
Yeah. What was your experience like on Saturday, Paul? Do you have a good time? Your first block party here at Northridge.
Man, that was a lot of fun.
Is it really? Oh man.
First
I always
one?
forget.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
firsts for until we hit like April. It'll be all
Yeah, I'm
firsts.
6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, all first.
First block party, first kickoff.
I didn't know that guys like this like legit stayed the night roasting the hogs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They said like, oh yeah, they're gonna start it Friday night. I'm like thinking, you throw it in the oven and
And then take off and
see
come
you
back.
tomorrow. No.
Well, to be
And-
fair, I didn't know guys like this did it till 3
this
hours.
your first
before,
year?
Till 3 hours before I did it. Yeah. So
Did anybody sleep or did you guys just
no, not really. I mean, Dave Foy was here. You don't sleep
You
with
just
Dave
listen to
Foy.
stories
yeah,
all
I
night?
stayed up all night.
Yeah.
it's like
Wow.
campfire stories, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The elder
No.
statesman. Just
So
staying up all
I went
night
on the
with you.
Church Center app and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to volunteer for something. And I saw that there was an opening for this. So I was like, all right, I signed up. So then I text Kenny Krebs and said, hey, what time do you need me tomorrow to grill? He's like, or smoke. He's like, well, we're starting at 10 tonight. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm all in. So 3 hours later, I was here.
Kenny's a funny guy.
Oh, dude, hanging out with the Krebs brothers.
Yeah, they're all pretty great.
Oh, man, it was a blast. It was an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And then Dave showed up, and he knows everybody and has stories for days.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it next year, the entertainment factor is high.
Dude, I'm not a night owl. Like 9:30, my brain starts going.
If I didn't have stuff to do that I had to do on Saturday, I would totally do that because I am a night owl. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
I'd love hanging out with
Yeah.
those guys.
You can do
Yes.
the like 10 to 3 a.m. shift
Yeah.
on your normal body clock.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it was fun. A lot of fun.
It was.
awesome people all over the place doing tons of stuff.
Yes.
Friday, Saturday morning, the teardown crew just before the wave.
How many
of rain
volunteers do
came
you think we had engaged on Friday night and Saturday?
through. Oh man.
70?
Oh,
I
yeah.
would say probably 80,
80.
90.
Wow. That's
If you
awesome.
include staff, yeah.
I don't include staff 'cause
Oh.
we're not volunteers.
Volunteers. How many people serving?
Oh,
Does that count? Are
sure.
we serving? No.
Yeah, how many volunteers?
Sure,
People who-
absolutely. You guys are serving. Everyone's serving.
Yeah, we're not
Everyone's pulling together to get something done.
Yeah. But huge thank you
Mm-hmm.
to each and every one of you, whether you helped with the pig. So that's Mike and that crew.
Pigs, how many were there?
Sean-
Or 4.
There are 4
Did
pigs.
you actually look into their eyes before?
No, I didn't see him get slaughtered. But Dave has all like the bacon for like the men's breakfast bacon
for
like,
the whole
the
season?
whole year. It's
Yeah.
sitting in his freezer at his house.
That's awesome.
That's
And so you better
amazing.
get a backup battery for that freezer because I don't know.
Yeah.
Battery?
Generator.
Generate something. He's probably got $5,000 worth of bacon in his freezer.
I bet Dave has a generator.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Whether you helped out in the kitchen, if you served food, if you helped facilitate one of the games, if you helped at the information table, the face painting, the cleanup crew,
Don't forget Jeff's wife.
Jeff's wife, Patty Hoyle, kind of getting an initiation into being an events coordinator here, kicking it off with probably this and then Celebration as being our biggest events. But, what does Greg have?
Oh, here's Greg. He handed me a mic until you got here.
What do you got? Meats?
I brought charcuterie. How do you say it?
Charcuterie.
That's been in the fridge for
Just
a few minutes. Oh, it's still sealed though.
Yeah, and it's like
I didn't think
Ham.
it was fair game.
this will
'cause it
last
was-
forever. I'm making it fair.
Do you know what it was for, or
I
are you
still
just
have-
calling dibs now that it's been?
So here's the deal. This is,
People wrote in and said they don't want us to eat.
I watched. Was it last week or the week before?
maybe
yeah.
they just don't want the sound of us.
The sound,
in
yeah,
the mic.
just
When
hold
I
the
think
mic
about
away
it, I
from
pull
your.
the mic from my
Yeah.
face, but when I'm stuffing. So we bought this for.
I still have
snacks
my
for the
charcuterie board
cooking
that you gave me as
crew.
a small group leader gift.
Wait, snacks for the cooking crew?
Yeah, for the grilling team that were here all night.
Oh,
Foy and the
yeah.
Krebs and Sean Hauser.
They had their table.
Shauna.
They had their table of cookies instead.
I know.
Sean Hauser, that guy knows a lot about.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Sean Hauser.
That was.
Do you think Dave Foy was the brains behind that?
Dave Foy was
And he would love that joke if he
But
was here.
Sean was going to teach the Krebs boys how to smoke the meat for next year because I think he was going to be kind of
Well,
passing
they're
the
passing
torch.
the baton.
He is? Well, I hope he's back next year because it was really fun company.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing about Dave. I talked to him a couple days earlier on the phone, and he says, "I'm not staying out there all night again because my doctor will kill me. I can't do all night." And then fast forward to like 2 nights later, and I woke up. It's 3 a.m, and I have a message from Dan, and he's like, "Coffee time," and they're all sitting around outside drinking coffee, and there's Foy. I'm like, 3 a.m, drinking coffee, and he's not
3
staying
a.m..
up all night.
That's
Well,
yeah,
he was telling
Mike was
stor-
trying to get me to do it next year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could.
He was telling stories. Dave was that he was in the hospital for something, and the doctor.
I looked in there. I'm like, "Oh, I'm just telling Tammy."
He was making deals. You know, he was selling houses and making deals from his hospital bed, and the doctor came in and told him, "I'm going to stop treating you if you don't give me your cell phone."
Wow.
Yeah, you want to come say hi?
You want to join the
Yeah, you want to
podcast,
come say
Tammy?
hi?
Come on, Tammy.
Come on, Tammy.
He's always
I
making
got
deals.
roped in
And
momentarily.
then some charcuterie. Hey.
Happy birthday
To
you.
Ooh, when's your birthday?
Today?
Today? No. Wait a minute.
Bury the lead.
This is a birthday podcast.
Dear Michael.
Happy birthday to you.
We're really good singing.
Just outed you. Everything just changed.
I thought
All
I
right.
was going to get through this.
I'm
so-
going to Culver's. What do you
No.
want? Culver's. Well, let's see what the flavor of the day is.
You are a big Culver's guy. You said
No,
that.
it's more talk.
I think the
than-
first time you preached, you brought up how much you love
Well,
Not
Culver's.
more talk. It's just any given time.
It's.
Yeah, let's do
He
it.
likes Culver's.
It's not even persuaded. I'm easily
Cement mixer? What's
Oh,
it called?
today is salted caramel pecan pie.
No thanks.
Not worth it.
No.
Chocolate eclair. Bleh. Red raspberry. Bleh. No.
I feel like
You seem like a pumpkin spice guy. You're a pumpkin spice guy?
Let's try different Culvers.
hey, not to
Yeah, I didn't realize different Culvers had different flavors
Oh, yeah.
today.
wow.
Yeah,
That
Like,
is
for instance, if you were to go to Maple Grove today, you could have crazy for cookie dough.
yeah, it's way better than pecan.
Way better. I got to go to
The
Maple
one
Grove.
over by the Menards.
Yeah, I got to go there today or tomorrow, or over by there to
I
the
can't-
running room.
I can't afford Maple Grove. That's outside of our price range. You have to stay in the Rogers price range, Paul.
Dude, I got the kid Scoopy coupons.
You going to the running room?
For your birthday last year?
What? I'm going to the running room. I got to pick up my.
You got him bottle
Packet
of
stuff.
sauce, right?
Yeah, you bought that hot sauce from your buddy.
No, because I got one too. I don't know why Greg gave me one.
No, didn't you get the
Oh no, I do. I used it this morning. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got him a Yeti.
Yes.
Since, have we?
No, I have. I used it this morning. I
If
was,
you like it, man, you should have said. You
I'll-
could have
Yeah,
returned it.
those are.
I'm gonna go home and take a picture of
Your
it sitting right
stinking
at my desk
birthday.
right now.
Yeah, how,
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
I wondered
I
why
was
you're so
born.
dressed up today.
I don't know if we need both of those crackers. I would just wait to open it.
Yeah.
Now to criticize my.
Oh, he's plating it and everything. Look
I
at
know.
this.
There you go, Mike.
Thank you.
Where's the candle?
Thanks to Tammy for pointing this out.
45?
Something.
Not
4?
quite 4.
That's pretty
Yeah.
close.
I know, and I feel it. I have to stretch before I stretch now.
Where's that? Oh, that's.
Running
That's
is
smart.
killing me.
Did you get your devotional booklet on Sunday? Probably not.
I didn't.
A lot of people didn't.
No, I got
Got the PDF.
I got the magnet, which, by the way,
Magnet?
felt
It's heavy, yeah.
it's weight.
I'm sore. We're passing those out today.
Man, I mean that's
Lifting.
Who's my neighbor?
Doing
pro-
anything special for your birthday, Mike?
no. I'm probably bringing Josie to dance. Probably
out some
doing that.
emails.
Yeah, this is special.
There's a Vikings game tonight.
There's a Vikings game tonight, which
Where's your jersey?
Last
There were
year-
no jerseys Sunday.
there were not. I don't.
Disappointing.
I kind of feel like we've influenced the people now, and so now.
Who? You influenced?
Well,
them?
we had an over under
mean-
number of jerseys.
Oh yeah.
Among Greg's
Contest.
family of viewers.
They wanted who they want to win, so they stopped wearing them.
I know. I feel like
My mom is a Cowboys fan, but she won't. I don't think she won't.
we need to get you a microphone. No, only Paul.
You're good. We could share. We could do the rock thing, like where they share one mic.
Stand at the sing a duet.
Hey, last night.
Sarah, is it your birthday in September? I'm not.
Sarah's is.
Sarah who?
Sarah Cook.
Oh,
It's like right
She called you a baby.
Yeah,
oh.
just a baby.
I wish I had a baby.
So nothing,
face.
nothing special. Not
No,
gonna
I
make
can't think
got
of anything.
special for dinner that you want.
What is Julie making? We're doing shrimp tacos tonight.
Shrimp tacos.
I like those.
All right.
That's what I asked for. Josie likes them too.
like really small tacos.
Yeah.
Really small tacos.
Really small tacos.
So no, I don't. That's about it. I can't think of anything we're doing special. I don't know. Do you guys celebrate birthdays much?
No, I
mean,
try
are your
to. I try to disappear.
Kids.
I mean, the kids' birthdays. Yeah.
Older than 8 years old. That's what I kept telling people. When you told everyone it was my birthday on Sunday, I'm like,
I didn't know. Paul told me.
I
like,
told him
it's
to
okay.
do
I'm
that.
not 8 years old. You don't have to come give me a hug and give me a balloon or something.
Actually, I think what I suggested was like tell him it's Greg's birthday and that he loves Red Robin gift cards.
Yeah. I was just don't. I was.
Did anybody come through on that?
You know what's funny? I got a Red Robin gift card from my niece.
Oh, I thought it was.
She already had it and she was
Oh.
here. Isn't that funny?
Did you get it before you went out to eat or after?
And they went with us. So it's like she paid for her own meal because we were paying for it.
Because you're gonna buy
great.
for her.
No, it was awesome.
That worked out.
I was just following orders. I was told this is what you do. So. No, I don't know. I mean, we celebrate kids stuff, but I don't know, when you get older, it's like,
Like
what are
lay
you
some
gonna do?
tile tonight, or
Yeah, there you go. Actually, that's probably what we will be doing is painting putting that sealer. We're redoing our bathroom, and so have to. Yeah, still trust me. So we're gonna seal the Durarock with some paint they have to put on first. Yeah.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's my life now. It's boring. No, my life is driving the kids to everything every night, something. But that's okay. That's why you have them. It's good that they're involved in things.
Well, you got to be here with them.
yeah,
last night.
last night was awesome, by the way.
Except for the mustard.
Well, that's true.
That was not so awesome.
I thought, were you in there for the worship?
Yeah.
Man, it was great. The kids were way into it.
Yeah.
The worship was awesome last night, Andy.
Yeah, they were.
And the kids were just fired up, and it was a lot of energy. And Cameron brought a friend from school,
Yeah, I saw it.
and she's all in, I guess.
She was into it too.
Yeah, she's all in. She loved it,
Cool.
and Brax did a great job. And the game was
Game was fun.
It was a
It was
hit.
a lot of fun. It was awful. It was disgusting, but it was great.
Kid-
Only because I landed in the mustard with my Oreo instead of.
But I
Sprite
appreciate
would
the
have been
leadership.
okay.
Yeah, you went for it. And you're like,
Well, Brax kind of. He literally took my Oreo that was just dabbed in the mustard and he submerged it, and then I had no option at that point.
Not when you're in front of a group of
And I
of
had already
people,
called him out to
especially you.
do it himself, so
you did.
it was kind of
Yeah.
You gotta do
payback
it.
of sorts, I think.
Yeah.
But
If you don't
was
want
fun.
none, just don't even get in there.
Yeah, you didn't even-
with you stuff. No,
you didn't roll one.
No,
No,
No.
did you?
I don't even like.
Oh,
I don't
come
like
on.
Oreos enough to like eat
Do you when
eat
dipped
it
in
off
ranch?
of mustard or ranch.
It was like what? Ranch, barbecue sauce, mustard,
and then
Sprite.
and milk.
And milk?
Milk.
They're like two milks.
Two milks on
So
the,
I didn't-
two
I-
stripe
on the
two
corners
stripes.
too. So you had to kind of like, huh?
You don't like Oreos? I
They're
feel like
fine.
that's
They were
big
double
news.
stuff.
Not
They're
your
fine.
favorite?
No, they're not my favorite. They're fine.
Who doesn't like Oreos, man?
They give me like if I eat too many, they give me stomach aches and.
well, how many
it's
are you
not-
eating?
Well, like 15, right? Isn't that how many you eat?
They're like Whoppers. You
15
can't
is
just
one
have like an Oreo.
One,
It's
one whole
half a row.
a whole row.
Half a row.
No, a whole row. Right?
Whole row. I think half a row is pretty typical.
I
for me.
actually.
The goal is to eat as much as you can without getting a stomach ache. So how
Yeah,
mu-
I don't know
how
what
many can
that
you eat
line. I don't
without-
know what that line is.
I can tell you the line when there's mustard on it is like one.
Because the stomach ache happens like 4 hours later.
You know who is a big mustard guy? Dan Munson.
Dan Munson.
He'll just go in the fridge
Oh.
and just I've seen
I don't like
he'll
mustard.
squirt mustard on his hand right here and just like
That's strange.
it's
Yeah.
strange. I've seen him do it once, but in my mind he does it all the time.
But that's a culinary
I have
bump.
seen 'em
They
also
do
take the
bumps
mustard
of
bottle.
different sauces and caviar, and they'll put it on here.
By the way, if you're going in the church kitchen fridge and getting mustard out of there that's already open, likely it's Dan's had his
got-
mouth on it. So
Well, there's like a dozen ketchup bottles in there, which will last me about a week.
Celeste, did you roll an Oreo since you said that game was crazy?
I don't think I saw
I don't think I
Celeste
saw her
up
up there either.
No,
You know Brian
there,
Regan
there
is?
wasn't
Yeah.
a strong leader participation on that.
You know Brian Regan? He's a comedian.
I
So
mean,
it's-
I don't know him.
but you're familiar
know
with
of him, yeah.
So he's got a bit with Fig Newtons because the serving size of Fig Newtons is 2. And he's like,
Oh,
2? Who
yeah.
eats 2? He's like, he's like, it's like 2 sleeves.
then
And he's like,
it's
I just shove it in. He's like, I'm a
goofy-looking
wood chipper. I
face.
got Fig Newton particles flying off.
I never liked Fig Newtons.
What's an Oreo? It's probably 1, right? Serving size is 1. I mean, yeah.
you know, Oreos are vegan.
Oreos are vegan.
There's no dairy in there.
Nothing. It's sugar.
They're not gluten free, are they?
Seems like that's really dry in your
No,
mouth.
like
It's
Cheetos,
dry.
they changed them to make them gluten free.
No, I didn't. I wasn't sure I should.
Yeah, several years ago. It was one of those like it was like Cheerios, like they just did it and didn't tell you. And they're like, oh yeah, but they are gluten free. Yeah.
All right. So Greg had a good idea.
What's that?
Finally.
Well, you always have good ideas about talking about our neighbors, having
Oh.
neighbor stories. Good neighbor stories, or
Serving
Not
size
so
is,
good.
By the way, serving size is 3 Oreos.
3
That's
Oreos.
what Celeste says.
oh, I love that we have fact checkers because I'm sure people have noticed we make it up as we go along around
Right.
here.
Anything else on the block party though?
Oh, yeah,
any
block
any
party.
last?
That's where we were.
Serving size is the amount that you just feel like eating.
Right.
It's like when they give the weather, it's like 95 degrees, but feels like 102. It's like, no, it's 102.
Yeah. No, the serving size is like
That's a good point.
They show the caloric values on the side of the box, and
Yeah.
they say that's per.
Which mean nothing.
That's just
because It's like
calculating.
2,000 calories, and then it even has a note. It says like, yeah, this doesn't apply to you. is what I think it says. I'm paraphrasing.
I'm pretty sure it says that.
I think sugar is the only thing that doesn't actually have a daily recommended allowance.
Really?
There's no every other has a so much salt or whatever, but sugar, because the sugar lobby
They have the best.
doesn't want recommended amount. Mm-hmm. Fact check that, please.
You have the weirdest food issues. That's what they said.
Let's talk food issues.
Food issues.
All right, some block party. Well, here's the thing. So we were back here doing the grill,
Yep.
and then doing the hot dogs and the corn and stuff. Didn't really get up there
Why not?
At
because
all?
we were back here. Well, barely.
Oh.
Was it?
Back kitchen workers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from what I
We
heard,
move you guys up the alley
what I
next
heard,
year?
it was really busy. There was a lot of people.
Right.
Good
Yeah.
turnout.
It was a really
Oh,
good
great
turnout.
day.
I think it's probably about the same amount as last year. Now, we usually try to measure attendance to that thing by how many plates were used.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people were saying a lot of the kids didn't even eat
How many? You said there were like 200.
because they were on the ninja thing the whole time.
What was it? 290 something kids that signed the waiver or parents signed the waiver for him. I can't remember what you
Really?
said.
Wow.
253 waivers, like kids with waivers. So
Wow.
And they were on it like all day.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of them even ate. So it was hard to measure like how many people were really there because they didn't take plates. But I think it was 800 some plates taken. Or was it 700 some?
725 or 765 or
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
All right. Well,
2 of those were mine.
Greg took two.
any other thoughts about block party?
I don't know what you guys said before I got here, but just big thanks to a lot of people gave a lot of time to that.
Yep.
So, like Steph Uchman, and then of course her family was here all day Friday helping with setup and all day Saturday, and then of course Kim Kringen, who hates that we give him any thank yous or praise.
Kim Kringen.
but, also known as
Sam.
Fat
Sam.
Andy.
Yeah,
he
he's
describes
taller,
himself.
Andy. I guess
2 weeks in a
whatever.
row we've
The
talked
other
about Kim.
Asian, one of the other Asian. We have a couple of guys now.
A handful.
Haven't
It's
noticed.
John.
Of course, Dave, like Foy,
Colorblind.
Foy and Krebs and Sean Hauser.
Yep.
Mike Yoakum, another guy that probably doesn't like much attention, but Mike came out big. Had to run up to Perham, which is 2.5 hour drive to get that one of those. smokers.
While his wife is in the
While his
hospital.
wife was in and out of the hospital.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Those smokers were no joke. It was like 10 grand each. Kenny was saying for those smokers.
Jeesh.
Yeah.
So
Just light
Mike,
on fire.
Mike ran up there to get those things. Jeesh.
I mean, a lot of people helped with a lot of things. Steve Compton
Yep.
with the games. Holly Sable early on with like planning some game stuff, but Steve designed a lot of those games and was over there like most of the day just having fun, I think, watching kids enjoy it. And Holly was over there too. I don't know who else. Kim Cooper was our kitchen lead. And yeah, just lots of good volunteers, but a lot of people that played like kind of key volunteer roles. And then, yeah, Patty jumping in as she came on staff as the events coordinator in August and kind of hit the ground running with Block Party and a lot of stuff rolling and trying to like navigate that, but then just jumped in and did a great job of that. And but yeah,
As Pastor Ben pointed out, Jeff's wife did a great job too.
yeah, Jeff's wife, Patty, otherwise known as Jeff Hoyle's wife. So, which she's getting a kick out of and using that a lot. Like,
That was my favorite. Andy goes, "She's on staff, Ben."
we've all been there. All of us have been.
We've all been there.
Like, you could blank out the most obvious thing.
I know.
Trust me.
I can get away with that,
Yeah.
but
But I mean, it happens.
Ben only founded the church. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, it's fine though. And Ben,
no, it's funny.
You get
people
up there.
actually want more banter between me and Ben or whoever. You know, they want more interaction. So I thought I'd throw that out there. Just to,
It's kind of
and-
like
he has no ego, so he doesn't mind.
But now, if it happens, it's going to feel awkward and forced. Since he said that, the people want more banter.
Right. Well, somebody had mentioned that,
that in the
we
comment
should try
cards?
to create it, and you just can't create it.
No.
You just have to take
It happens.
the moments that are given to you. Otherwise, it will feel forced and not funny.
Kind of like David Letterman and was it Paul? Was his
Paul Schaefer?
Yeah, Paul Schaefer. You guys should be like those two.
No thanks.
Absolutely should. When Ben makes a point in a sermon, you should just
Top
be in
10
the-
list.
McMahon.
and then play a little something.
Little riffs in between. I mean, Brax calls that mood music.
Mood music. Yeah. We will try to slow jam the announcements one of these weeks. Did you guys ever slow jam the announcements at New
No.
Hope? No. We should maybe do that. Maybe, yeah.
Sounds like this is the week for it.
Yeah, with Ben up there.
Don't tell him you're doing it.
Yeah.
Nobody tell Ben. This is happening this weekend.
So the Ninja Anywhere thing was a huge hit.
Yeah, it was cool. That was fun. It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Did any of you guys try it out? No.
No.
I chaperoned my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a camera that.
Smart enough to not try something like
Dude,
that.
I
When you
pulled my
get into your
hamstring playing
40s.
church softball. I'm not doing a ninja wall.
Yep. That stuff like
You're the
that stuff dads in their 30s try.
Right.
I'm hanging on. I'm pushing 40.
I guess my point was, once you're a dad for a certain amount of years, you realize that.
I didn't see
if
Brax.
the most
I
in
didn't see
shape guy
Brax
here
try.
isn't doing it, then I'm not jumping on. So
I learned my lesson.
It's more a joke about Mike being old.
I am old.
Happy birthday.
You're older than me, right, Andy?
We go,
Yeah.
feel
I
like
forget.
every week-
Asians, you can't
I
tell.
forget.
You can't tell how old Asians are. Yeah, I know you're older than me. Oh.
You're
You're
fine.
good. Here.
Hey, come on in.
I left my camp chair here. Somebody said they found it.
Camp chair.
Camp chair?
Yeah.
Probably in the lost and found.
Might be.
I should go find it.
We already took it down to Cross.
So yeah, it's already.
Yeah, I know where you can find it. Yeah. Cross. It might be. I don't know.
I don't know. Anything else on the block party, Greg? Mike?
I don't know. Mike apparently wasn't here.
Oh.
He was here all night, but he didn't care that there was an event going on right up. The only time I saw Mike, he was coming around looking for the hot dog guy.
Well, that's just it.
We had to
ran
send
out
someone
of-
for more hot dogs.
Well,
that was a surprise.
I
to me.
had it was kind of
Yeah.
a panic moment because we were running out of hot dogs, and
I thought I overbought. I thought,
You
oh,
did not
this
overbuy.
should be enough.
there was like a wave. There was a wave there
Did you look at the lost and found?
from probably around noon to 1:30, where it was.
Yeah. That's
We're
lunchtime.
like, well, I
Yeah.
know, but I'm just saying it picked
Yeah.
up quick,
Yeah.
and we
Come
were
back in, Paul?
We were low on hot dogs.
I got your phone over here.
Man, now.
We were low on hot dogs, and
See that's what makes me think a lot of kids did eat, just because like so many hot dogs. I would think that would be a kid thing more than adult when you got, hog roast going on. But I don't know.
no, we thought we were going to get away without having to take out the grill, but we busted out the grill because we weren't going to get.
Well, you were
them.
smoking the hot dogs at first, right?
At first, we were smoking. them.
Oh,
Well, we got behind.
they were good.
'Cause it
Maybe
was taking
people were
so
going
long.
back
It
for more.
yeah, it was taking so long, so we had to get the old propane out and fry them up quick.
It was nice having that parking lot.
Yeah.
Nice, smooth
At the
parking lot.
roller derby.
Roller
Oh,
derby.
yeah,
Yeah.
we could do that. Yeah, let's do it.
Ever been to that?
It's a good liability
girls.
thing.
Out at Roy Wilkins.
I have never.
That's
no.
what the- sign a
We had some
waiver.
friends that-
They have one locally. You could go watch.
yeah, St. Paul, Roy Wilkins.
Really?
It's like an actual league.
How do you score? And
Isn't it
Wow.
fake? Like
No, it's
Wrestling?
not
It's
like,
like-
not like
it's not-
WWE.
Oh, okay.
No, they try to make it around the track, and there's hip checks and moves and it's.
I remember
mean, This
watching
is
it.
like when we were first married. 15 years ago, we went maybe once or twice a year with friends. How do we get on this? Oh, I
Oh,
suggested
you brought it up.
Yeah,
That's how we
That's
got it.
Yeah.
None of us even know what it is.
yeah.
No, they used
they
to
have
have
a booth
roller
at the
derby.
State Fair,
Do they?
recruiting people. Yeah,
I've
used to
just
have it
seen
Saturday
in TV
mornings.
shows.
Yeah, they used to have it on.
it's a real thing.
I thought it
No,
was like
not even
professional
like
wrestling.
the events of. I've seen it portrayed in TV shows, like
Yeah.
Poker Face. They had an episode
Oh,
with
yeah.
roller derby on Poker Face.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like a pro athlete. Like like these ladies are good and intense, but I can't imagine they make a living at it. It's
No,
you
you
know,
couldn't.
More
moonlight
like a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good hobby.
Saints used to be
Like the
co-opted.
Kim Cooper's daughter played for the women's professional football, the Vixen. Yeah,
Is that
she
still
was
a
like
thing?
good. She was like what, a runner up or like a league MVP or something. Like she was a running back, dominated.
Cool.
But I don't know if it was paid or brought.
This is your lunch.
Oh, you want to go to lunch?
Charcuterie is your
Sure.
lunch.
Birthday lunch. We usually burger
We
after
could.
this. Don't go too long.
We could go. What? You have to be
Maybe.
home.
We'll see.
They don't give you a birthday day off.
No,
They don't have a. You don't have a party.
National holiday. I agree.
You don't have a
Actually, I
party
agree,
like a
but
work party after.
Would you have to
in the
die first
afternoon?
in order to get it? Maybe I have to die first.
You have
yeah.
to. Well, you have to be significant first.
Oh,
You have to be like-
about?
You have to
What do you mean? He's preached at Northridge at
Yeah.
least 18 times.
18 times. Come on.
at least 18.
Yeah. So that's
Open your card here.
no.
Is
just
that
in
the one
case
from
there's
Ben?
something in there.
That's the one. Thanks for.
It's one thing, one from
Thanks
us.
for-
This when you get the cards.
Let me.
Let's talk about neighbors. Come on.
Yeah, we started
Let's
this
talk about
last week
neighbors.
with the block party.
And then
it always
I'm good for the quick lunch thing too.
happens right around the same weekend that we do kickoff here, which means we're starting all of our fall programming and our year-long programming throughout the rest of the year. And we always start a new series the week after Labor Day. And this year we started with The Art of Neighboring. And we're going to be doing this for 2 more weeks. We did last week and then 2 more weeks. There's a book that this series was based on.
You made a book out of that.
Inspired by.
Yep, they made a book out of it. And then
Favorite joke of all time.
if you were in the service, you got one of these magnets that you put on your fridge that Pastor Ben explained about writing down your neighbors and praying for them. And if you don't know your neighbors, encouragement to go introduce yourself to them and get to know them. But yeah, you guys' thoughts on this last week and the kickoff of the whole series?
My thought is this is kind of ruining our little neighborly display. But take your neighbor a charcuterie board.
My thoughts are I think the data is showing that people one of the problems we have in our country is people are lonely. They don't feel like they're part of anything or that people even know they exist. And so I think this is very timely. I think it's very necessary. I think just simple things that that research is showing that if you have one connection with somebody, it makes a huge difference on your outlook on life and your impact that you have on others. And so actually getting to know our neighbors and just making connections with them, I think is very important because I don't, it's just not how it was. People move so much more now. It's just not how it was. Even probably when we were. I mean, I don't remember hardly anybody moving when I was a kid. You kind of just stayed and
Yeah.
but now about every 5 years people move.
I moved a lot growing up.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you move a lot?
No. When I was 3 or 4, my parents, and they lived in that house until last year.
Yep.
We moved like twice, I think, as kids, but it was the same town. Just, it was a smaller town for Southern California. as far as
Edina
that goes.
to Minnetonka to
So
Tampa,
they didn't
Florida.
move. They had someone move them.
Florida
That's what it
to
sounds like.
Ohio to Plymouth, and then another place in Plymouth after that. Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot.
Like job?
My dad worked for
Prompted?
Cargill.
Okay, he kept getting transferred.
That was like witness protection thing.
Yeah, anytime they opened
running
up,
from the law.
like he was the vice president of North Star Steel, so they opened up a steel plant down in Tampa. So we moved down there. Then they opened up a steel plant in Detroit. So we moved to Toledo, which was closer to Detroit than you'd think. It's only like 15 minutes away. So Toledo's right at the north border of Ohio. And then when we moved back here when he didn't have to do any of that kind of stuff anymore. So then Plymouth, it was crazy. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's timely. I think it's great.
I thought
Trying to get in.
the quote, I don't know. Oh, they're trying to get in. You got it.
Sorry.
The
You're gonna probably need to go to the back anyways because that's where the car should be parked.
in the 9 o'clock, when Pastor Ben, like, there's the quote, remember, from the mayor
Yep.
about like, oh, you want to help, be neighbors, be better neighbors. But then it was the follow-up quote from the city administrator that said, we see no noticeable difference between Christians and non-Christians in terms of how they neighbor. Like, there was a hush in the room. That was like, ooh. And I think that, like, for me and for us, like, that was like the conviction of, whoa, is that true of us, of me? Is there a noticeable difference on my block? And I think that, like, that's for me what elevates the kind of the urgency of this.
That's a great point.
Yes.
I missed it.
No.
Say it again. No.
Yeah, you're right. That was. Wonder why that is, though.
I mean, how much of it is it just less people paying attention to anything that doesn't have to do with themselves? I mean, we're all guilty of kind of being just, involved in your own world and the things that you're involved with. And so you have no awareness of anything else, whether it's good or bad or other, you know? And so for somebody, even in the city government, their head's probably involved with so many other things. I'm not discrediting that quote at all. I think it's still a powerful insight, and it's a wake-up call that we should all think hard about. But, you know, how much she'd not notice because she's just not paying attention, or not noticing because it actually is not any different. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe we have to just go not overboard, but be that much more so somebody actually would take notice. You know what I mean?
Have you ever tried to be neighborly and it gone really bad?
No. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's probably normal for me, though.
Yeah, but-
Twice. Well, I don't know if twice. I'll give two examples. One, it was my old house. My neighbor, he wasn't the friendliest guy, which whatever. Well, wanted to hire my brother-in-law, at the time was in high school, maybe not even in high school, to mow his lawn. So I was like, all right, you know, what do you think is fair? And I was kind of brokering the deal for some reason because he was asking me, and I was like, well, I'll ask my brother-in-law. And he said, I'll pay him $20 to mow the lawn. I'm like, all right. So John comes, he mows it. And then he comes back the next week to do it again. and my neighbor refused to pay him. And so I never told you could come back. And he's like, I thought you wanted me to do it like once a week. And he's like, well, I didn't need it. And so after he mowed, he wouldn't pay him. So we ended up like, here, John, you know, thanks for doing it. And so then I had to live next to the guy and the rest, you know, for a few more years.
Relationship?
Well, I wouldn't say we had a great relationship to begin with. He often would go in the backyard and just in his boxers. And he was an older guy, and he was in his 60s. And so it was a little awkward to begin with anyway, like sitting on the deck, and there's Dave in his boxers over there.
It's always old guy, too. It's always old guy.
I mean, yeah.
So it's a little awkward to talk. It's a little hard to talk, you know, at the fence.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
hey.
boxers. At least it wasn't, you know, whitey tighties.
Right.
Yeah.
And boxers, like young people today, they wear those kind of smaller shorts. Even
Sure.
guys do.
What's your other story?
Doesn't make
My
it
other
right.
one is
Absolutely.
our neighbors that we live next to now, and it's turned into a whole thing. They were gone for some reason. I can't remember why. And I mowed their grass for them. Well, wasn't paying close enough attention, and they had planted like 4 or 5 years of corn. It's called popcorn. It's called pop like a popcorn plant. So like you grow it and then you can make popcorn out of this plant.
We killed one of those this summer. My daughter got one from somebody, and
So you know what it
it didn't last. Yeah.
Okay. So I mowed over them.
We did it wrong.
So I mowed over them, and I found out from another neighbor. I didn't even know I did it, but I found from another neighbor that I did it. So I was like mortified that I did this, right? So for the last 10 years, then I buy them every year a new popcorn plant, whether they like it or not, as my penance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've tried and I've failed. And that
like a
is really,
flower. You got
it's
a popcorn.
super embarrassing though when you try to help somebody and you like screw up.
It's a thought that counts.
Well,
That's what you're supposed to tell them. That's what you're supposed to tell them.
Yeah.
We had something. It wasn't a neighbor, but so we had when my grandmother died. This is like early, I don't know, 2000-ish. She had a rhubarb plant at her house in Downey, California, that was actually brought from family when they moved out. Like when the family migrated from Kansas City area to Southern California, someone brought this plant from the Arnett farm. And then my grandmother had it forever. And then when she passed away, my sister, Misty, took it and they planted it. My parents lived next door to my sister and brother-in-law, and they planted it out there. And the gardeners killed it. First week, they just took it out. So like generations of
exactly.
So needless to say, that was the worst dessert in Thanksgiving the following year for my dad. He didn't get his rhubarb pie.
Sarah
Whatever.
had said Scott mowed over their
Hey, rhubarb plant.
neighbors'
All right.
rhubarb plants, and it hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, see?
So
People get weird
it's a
about the
combination
plants,
of you
man.
two guys.
Yeah.
The popcorn plant, the rhubarb, neighbors. Yeah.
Good.
Any?
I just want to be clear. I'm not the one that mowed it.
This is the closest thing for me to that. We had a neighbor across the street at our old house. He worked nights, and so we'd kind of help each other out with snow blowing depending on when it snowed. And I was doing his driveway and was up by his garage door, and I caught an extension cord, and it snarled all around. And
Yeesh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't zap anything, but it
Took
it was
out all the
toast.
Christmas
Yeah.
lights.
So I mean, that's
Come stringing
that
down
didn't
off the
ruin
roof
his
and everything.
Plan. It was pretty easy to fix, but yeah, it's the backfire.
Man.
It's the thought that counts.
It's a thought that counts.
Ask, Sarah, is it the same neighbor that you guys have issues with the dog too?
Must be. It hasn't been the same since. So I will say this was when I was a kid growing up, but one of my jobs was to pick up the dog poop in the backyard, and I didn't want to take it to the trash can, and I flung it over the fence to the neighbor's
your
backyard.
neighbor's house?
The neighbor's backyard. In fairness, he was a creep. So, and things got really bad later. We found out. So anyway, he had it coming. But yeah, golden retriever poop. It's not that. It's not that big. It's the thought that counts.
Nope,
that
that's a
counts.
different one, Mike.
A different one? Okay. Good to clarify.
You got issues with both neighbors? Jeez Louise. And the Cooks are hosting a small group, by the way,
They
coming
actually,
on Friday. So don't park in front of their neighbor's house.
Is it at their house? Maybe they could try to all as a small
just
group win
joking.
their neighbors over.
They could. I would encourage all the small group going to the Cooks to park in the neighbor's driveway.
well, they have a
Or on the lawn.
They have a pretty big lot, so that'd be quite the drive
Well,
from
that'd
their
be-
neighbor's
hey,
house,
it'd be-
or quite the walk.
It'd be driving the point home. And after all, it's the thought that counts.
That's right.
So, yeah. Wow. Quarrels with both neighbors. That's cool. I don't have like a quarreling neighbor story.
No.
No, but good neighbors. I mean, I feel like growing up as kids, it was different. Like we had the same, for most of my adolescent years anyway, that it was like same friends on the street. Like, you knew everybody aside from every neighborhood had the one, like the house where the witch lives, right? Like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
all the overgrown trees and dark house, and no one really saw the lady that lives there, so she naturally was a witch. But that was the scary house, and you can never go there when you're selling candy bars for Little League and all that. But we had good neighbors growing up, and like one thing I remember is my dad one time getting a new lawnmower and like a weed eater and edger. And the first Saturday out in the driveway, he had those out. Like 5 other men from just around the house just came and congregated in our
sure.
driveway and just all looking at. Yeah, it's like I don't know. That was kind of cool. But now people just pull into their garage. We're guilty of it. It's like you pull right into the garage, go in the house, and like we have kids that are outside. Most of our neighbors, like right, next door or on our street, most, not all, but most are older, and they're out doing yard work during the day when we're, and then I don't know, in bed by 6 or
Sure.
something. I don't know.
You just moved into your neighborhood, right?
A year and a half ago. Yeah.
You're getting some
It's changing.
actual
like
new neighbors.
Ben was talking about when they moved in, like their backyard was just open. That's how ours was, but we knew like there's a cul-de-sac being built behind us. So there's one house that's done, one that's mostly done, another one that is the model home for this that's done but no one's in it. So it's changing. But then you've got 2 houses for sale on our street on the front side. So going to be getting new neighbors.
So what are some things that, some classy, practical, not over the top, obnoxious things that we could do
I'm out.
as Christians to do this love your neighbor thing, to grow in our, we don't have to be best friends with our neighbors, but what are some things that we could help prompt people to do here at Northridge to engage in this whole art of neighboring thing? Anybody have any?
I don't know, we might talk about this Sunday a little bit. In one of the middle chapters in the book, I don't know, it was like chapter 5 or 6 or something like this, but they talk about the progression from stranger to acquaintance to relationship, and they give some just very practical suggestions of how to make those transitions. But I think that's a huge thing of like not feeling the pressure that you need to become lifelong BFFs. You might develop long-term relationships, but not being content to be strangers with your neighbors, I think, is probably the first practical thing of just learning their name, learning something about them, and being engaged, taking the extra moment to, visit with them or talk to them at the mailbox instead of zooming into the garage. Like for me, that's the challenge is like, so for example, yesterday I'm here, run home like 4:30, 4:45 to see the kids for a little bit, grab dinner, and then be back here. It's a short window, so I'm feeling like I don't have a lot of time. But, even in those moments to maybe give yourselves 5 minutes to do that and to just start to build a little bit of a foundation. For some people, that's, one-on-one. They've done that, been there, done that, lived there 10 years, they know their neighbors. But I think if you don't have, what the book is saying, if you don't have that, to not be content at the stranger status, but to at least become acquaintances to start with.
What do you do if there's either an estranged friendship or relationship with a neighbor, or
They start throwing dog poop over your
somebody,
fence?
somebody, or you run over their popcorn plant, or somebody that just seems like they're really reluctant to get to know anybody. Like my neighbor across the street, he's a little bit like that. I mean, he'll wave to me, but he's always waving like this with his head down. Doesn't want to make eye contact. Doesn't really want to talk. But yeah, he'll wave. That's about it. Yeah.
I got a current example and a past example. So current, we have that guy. We moved last April, so almost a year and a half ago. And I'm not exaggerating. It took probably 6 or 7 months before he waved back. And I was like, I'm staying in it. I'm waving every time, Mr. Yeah, I'm not going to say his name, but every time I'd roll down my window and say hi, and like nothing. And now he waves back half the time.
6 months later?
Well, no, almost a year and a half.
A year and a half
Yeah.
later.
But
and it's not all the time.
Not all the time.
It's just half
Yep.
the time.
But so a win story of that, rewind, when we were first married, my wife owned a townhouse. It was one of those townhouses where there's like 6 units in a building plus the garages. So there's 2 lower units and 4 uppers. We were a lower unit, and the people right above us, well, this was a fact. They did not like our dog. And we never talked to them. They seemed to be kind of irritated, grouchy, and we over time built up this image based on our limited interaction and the side eyes that we got, and thought a whole bunch of things about these people. And it ended up being maybe 6 months before we moved. We were talking at church about a series about living on mission, and so neighboring came up, and in our small group we got challenged on some of this stuff. So I got challenged and convicted that okay, I'm going to just say hi and we're going to invite them over. And I didn't want to do it. I put it off for several weeks. And finally, it happened where I got home from work at the same time as the guy. He's getting out of his car. I'm oh, I can't sidestep this
You knew
anymore.
it was the moment.
And I just said, hey, Brad, I feel silly even asking this because, we've lived here and but we've been meaning to ask you guys over for dinner. Would you guys be? And he's like, absolutely. We had them over for dinner. And they became really
great.
good friends.
Yeah.
We moved to our old house. We lived there for, 11 or 12 years. And then we moved again. We still exchange Christmas cards. I've run into them. And we've been connected for some other reasons. But we never would have had any of that if I didn't have our small group pushing us. And if I would have kept wimping out, and if we would have hung on to those assumptions that we had. We learned a lot about their story, and it was a fact they didn't like our dog. But they were fine with us, and they were going through a whole lot health-wise and personally that they didn't have capacity or emotional energy to, share or be responsive to anything. So, what we saw was accurate, but it wasn't directed at us. It was just what they're going through. So I'm hoping someday with our current neighbor, we'll have that breakthrough moment. But I'm still just getting the waves.
Any
right
advice for people out there who are kind of have neighbors like that? They feel like they just want to give up even trying. How did you talk yourself into just committing to it and just staying with it?
I mean, I knew that we needed to, but I assumed it wouldn't work.
Okay.
So it was combination of conviction from the Holy Spirit and our church series and our small group. And then my wife too, that was you're doing it. If you feel conviction, you got to do it, So
what do you do when it just falls flat and it seems like there's no hope, whether they just don't want anything to do with anybody, or something happened that created a negative force field between you and a neighbor?
Well, I think
what do you do?
I think like you said before, you don't want to be obnoxious.
Right.
I mean, listen, you're not gonna be best friends with everybody, right? And if you tried and it didn't work, maybe you give it a little bit of time, because time can heal all things, and maybe try again, 6 months, a year, and say, hey, we're having a campfire if you want to come over or something, right? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You can pray for them, you can do it, but a relationship takes both parties to be part of it. We have never, our next door neighbors we're good friends with. Well, they have 2 daughters that are in college, and so they were babysitters for us for many years. And weirdly, though, we've never had them over for dinner here, but we had them over for dinner one time when we were in Colorado, which is a really odd thing. Yeah.
It's weird.
I know. So we were
Invited them to somebody else's house.
we did. We were renting this house for a few weeks in Colorado, and then they were coming through. We're like, hey, stop
kinda
over.
fun, though.
So they stopped over. We had dinner. They were like, we've never actually had you over for dinner at our real house, but we talked to them and
You still haven't.
still haven't. No,
So I was just reminded of so my cousin who lives in Colorado, my cousin Karen, her backyard, they have fence, and it's the wood panel fence. So you know how every other one is Oh yeah. Hey, thanks, Julie.
Well, that's
I
my-
knew we'd
my-
get the smart Stella in
She
here
on
one
her,
day,
uh,
seriously.
one day or the
On
other.
our lunch break.
No, she's probably teaching kids. She could do that at the same time.
Teachers have all kinds of free time to
yeah,
listen to
they
podcasts,
do.
apparently.
Yep.
Man, these government workers have it easy.
So, yeah,
That's my wife, by the way. Just so everybody,
I know. Yeah.
I'm just giving my wife a hard time.
So
No
You know
relation to
the-
me because it says Schultz. But yeah.
one of your long lost cousins, you have many in the church. You know how the wood panel, the fences, how it goes opposite. You know, like one side is the nice panels, and then the other next section, sixth section or whatever, you get like the frame or the rungs or whatever. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
there's argument
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
which side you're supposed to put facing
Right.
out,
Right.
which side you're
That's
supposed
not that important. The important part is my cousin Karen and her neighbors, they like cut one of those sections and have it where it could pivot on a hinge and it becomes like a table. And they go out in their backyard and they'll just hang out together and like have like
Oh, that's kind of cool.
meal or like
Yeah.
It is cool. They shared pictures of it. Like,
Can you
oh, this is
rotate
kinda cool.
the nice side or the?
Well, you
Do
could
they
do
fight
it so
over
that
which
the
way
nice
it's-
side goes up at all times. I don't think they care that much. The point is, it's kind of cool to do that with your neighbors.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't have to be best friends with people. But I think it's good to go
know-
out of your way to show kindness and try.
I mean, practically, people like you find out what people are into and you ask them questions about it. People generally like to talk about things that they're into.
Yeah.
You know, my next door neighbor's a fishing guide, and my other guy down the road, he loves to restore cars, and so you ask questions about that type of
Yeah.
stuff, right? And I think that's how you make connections with people.
Yep.
So
Cool. Well, any teaser for this weekend, Paul?
yeah, Paul.
Pastor Paul.
Your wife is
Shalom.
going to preach it. Julie.
Shalom.
Yeah, we're looking at Jeremiah 29.
As much as
not-
up to
not the
you,
verse that you
live
probably
at peace with others.
Think of from Jeremiah 29:11, but earlier in that chapter, and it's a word to the exiles and the surviving elders, the ones that didn't get. So it's kind of an intense backdrop, and it's God's call to them about living in Babylon, and it's about shalom. So we're gonna talk about that. That's teaser level.
That's teaser enough.
I didn't
Yeah.
go full
Yeah.
into it. That's what I was going to be working on right now until you handed me a mic.
Yes. Yes, sir. Well, that was a little Ed McMahon, too, Johnny Carson.
Yeah, that's more Ed
that-
McMahon than
that
it
was more. No, but Paul would just sit.
Paul Schaefer.
Schaefer. he'd
Paul
just be able to-
Schaefer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was almost like 8:30 prayer circle summary.
Yeah.
You know, before
Yeah.
prayer. Give us a synopsis of the week. You know.
Should
Did you
be
guys
good.
talk before I came out? Did you review last week at all, like the Ben's message or anything, or Good
No,
Samaritan?
we just talked about the
thing?
block party before you came out. Why? I thought we already sort of did a review.
I just
Mostly
like,
we were singing happy birthday
my favorite
because it's
thing-
Mike's birthday.
You know what? I was actually working.
So am I.
I'm the assistant to the assistant. In there.
What you working on right now, Mike?
One of my favorite things in all of Scripture. It's
Underwriting
like,
inspection. I've noticed the church has a leak.
oh, are we going to get actuarial functions?
You know, I had a bunch of
That's
people
a
at the
stamp.
block
That's
party
a
come up
result
to
of a
me
nice stamp.
and say, "Greg told me to tell you," or said
Yeah,
something
I did
about
send
Andy not
someone over
liking
here.
actuary functioning.
I did send someone over there. I
If
said-
you didn't get one of these, and we'll talk about it this Sunday, there's a devotional book for this series. It's only 3 weeks, so you want to get it. You can take notes. You can bring back to your small group and use this as a discussion starters for your small group.
Yeah.
But they're available in the baskets near the entrances to the worship center. Devotional book. Make sure you grab one this
So
Sunday.
in the process of Ben calling himself in that Good Samaritan story, who'd been saying I'd be like that guy, the priest, and he
Yeah,
called you
and
the
then
Levite.
I'd be the Levite.
And,
He'd say, I'll throw Andy
and
under
who's the
bus.
hero of the story? The Samaritan.
The Samaritan.
Like, but one of my favorite things in all of Scripture, if you go back like just the chapter
one
before,
qualified in the
is like Jesus and the disciples, like they got denied by the Samaritans. They couldn't pass through, and so it's like the tension there. And I know Ben didn't have time to talk about all that, the tension, but they just get denied by the Samaritans, and then Jesus uses them as the hero or the good guy in the story, and that must have hurt. That must have burned.
Yeah.
So I guess the point is, like, even if you're the neighbor who the punk kid next door throws dog poop in your lawn, like maybe a chapter later in life, that punk kid is going to be
pastor.
the hero, the hero of the story.
Dude, that was a subtle flex.
That was not. I didn't mean it. I wasn't. I didn't even mean it. I didn't even mean it that
On that
way.
note, you
But
can't top that. Yeah.
so, actually, what I want to challenge Mike Stella with
Oh,
is to not be so tough on your wife who has a very difficult job and not mock that job.
That's easier than I thought you were going to say about my
Be
other.
a better husband to
And
a teacher
also-
I
like
thought you were going to say be nicer to your other neighbor.
Also,
I
be
know
nice to your other neighbor so that we have somewhere to park when we go to your house.
Right.
I don't want to leak oil in your driveway.
It's funny.
That's a story for off the microphone. So
We got some
we'll fill Paul in on that one. at
Yeah,
lunch.
okay.
cool events coming up. We're going to wrap it up here, but we got a women's event on the 28th, I think it is.
So,
The women's
now,
retreat
Julie-
is on
Julie
the
said preach
22nd. We have a men's barbecue contest, a cook-off. Actually, you're not going to be cooking together. You're just going to bring it to a gathering, but then it'll be a little bit of a food
So
tasting
what?
contest.
I think I'm just going to pick something up from Big Bore on the way over there. And if I don't win, I'll
It's
be
like
disappointed.
plagiarizing. Eh? Preach, Greg. That's what Julie said.
Yeah.
My whole family loves it when you preach.
We have a middle school retreat in October. We have a family comedy night in November.
Oh, wow.
We got a lot of stuff coming up here
Yes,
at Northridge.
sir.
So keep up with if you're Northridger, download the app, and then you get all your news and events on there. You can even set up to remind you through your phone. You can check out the website. We post stuff on Facebook, Northridge Life Group. There's all sorts of stuff. Grab a weekly bulletin when you're here at the services. Yeah, a bunch of different ways you can get all the information, what's happening here at Northridge. But it's going to be an awesome year, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that everybody's invited to be a part of it. And it's so much better to do together. So, anything else, guys?
Invite your neighbors to your small group.
Invite your neighbors to your small. Oh, the small group's another thing.
Join a small group
Join a small group.
if you're not in one.
If you're in person, there's a analog board.
Yeah, analog.
Analog board that has all the
They're
information.
just fun little cards you could take if
Little
you like
cards for
and
each
things.
day of the week. All
Yeah.
sorts of different types and groups of people that you maybe identify with better or whatever times. Childcare, not childcare, whatever. You can go on the website and look at all those same groups on the website and get more information.
And you could click a button that says request to join.
Yep.
Ding,
And
and
then
then the
you-
leader gets an email.
Does it go ding?
Well, I do when I
And you
click it.
push it?
It's
Okay.
in my head.
In your head?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's helpful.
So it's available digital or analog here in the building.
I can show you how to do
And
it. Yes, they want you to
yes.
click to join. Like, you see a small group?
Groups are open.
They're looking.
And we
They're
have, I
open.
think we added to our groups from what we had
Yeah.
last year. So there's more room for more people
In more places.
and more places.
Yeah.
So you're invited. Don't miss out on a season to be involved in a small group. I know you will be glad you did. If you've never been in a small group, yeah, you're missing out. And
Oh, jeez.
happy
right, thanks for having me.
birthday to
Thanks.
you.
That's
Happy
That's
birthday, dear.
We're gonna get censored on Facebook now.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get
All right.
get shut down.
Have a great day. Have a great rest of the
Come
week.
give Mike a hug Sunday
Give
at
Mike
church.
a hug on Sunday. We will
So
see you
happy
this
birthday.
weekend.
Give him a
Neighboring
hug.
part 2. Don't want to miss